Today, for the first time in Africa, a self-flying air taxi will take the skies.
Gaza Pork Gami, Eba, Ghana. John Dramani Mahama, ni inauguration, so obey o man penny diamo my Ghana. Na Paul Teho, no share any padominimu banning a dear and confudio machini mo a gadiomo, na asofo enqua bet is 90%. Paul was an annual wusulity. John Dramani Mahama Pachu Timi. Papa need you, Miss Rekasakakla. So, opese Ghana, a yet to say Rwanda. Wadam for Rwanda ni papai, Sianawati. Tinkomona minudi nipa. En konfona muso me yaso for Ghana hono. Omuni nim die bi o metim de abo my Ghana. The development, ade very development omuni bi. Omudie no spiritual nkwasiakeka sebe. Asa. Pork Gami wadamfo John Dramani Mahama wadamfo. Obesi so hu se nkofo no eninim die bi o metim de abo man Rwanda. Ene o ka kire o mo say asori a o matete wo Rwanda ho. Ensori wo Rwanda o obi anka se ensori no ensori wo. O ka kire o mo say ensori wo Rwanda na jimifo ni nyina nkofie nkoda. Ene o de restrictions to ho. John Dramani Mahama enti Paul ba inauguration ni expect say obebusa Paul say Papa Paul say na wo ye no a okuru na tima kwasa. Ne wa kire mu akire. Ye betima boaw ana meka akire. Te say Pork Gami onam wiem o. Waye taxis, omaye taxis nam wiem electronics. Eno me ametie man ko University of Science and Technology. Omo ko University of Science and Technology ko omo nim de no mo be no. Ade no so mo hire say e spirit na hwan na omo nim de bi na hwan je say de Elon Musk ye no. Mo nko fo yo mo Ghana omo so omo spirit omo ni sa nim de no nyansa na omo ni bi. Apart from Apostle ko Joseph no so kro. Asa akora bi na aba na nsi ono so ye neoma. Enkofo am hu am so ya asofo Ghana ho omu ni sa nimdie ne ye development no omu ni bi enti Pork Gami Mahama tie ne frɛ no wate opo omo mbebo wa frɛ Elon Musk mo obeba frɛ Pork Gami obeba na frɛ Ibrahim Trawo omo ombeba ne buso omo ko ambefa so wakyekire fa asofo ne fo mu gu garbage bi mu wow hwede wadamfo Paul oye yesi wonam wiem o onam wiem o pe taxi na nam wiem na ahyiawo tie nkomo na ye dini mi di nkomo asofo we mfa hwembro sofo ben na wo gan obetimi ne sase ne bosa me ene nam so e ma car we baaye me ene nam so ma technology we baaye me ene nam so ma empumto we baaye sofo ben omo ne dini nti tie nkomo anya so sofo wo fa me afuo ye hu nkomo ne yedi wa anya afuo nkomo ne afuo de se yin betima ye afuo omo ne so omo spirit omo timi ko spiritual eba physical omo ko omo ntimi musa omo spirit ni nyansasem emba ye ne aye ko spirit ni bi no emie nya so mfa so omo ba ye ewuo we bewu enso beto ebewu afa we bewu na we asa eti Papa John Dramani Mahama tie dia make na frɛ Pork Gami ne busan se oye den wotimi control sade obekyerew ensoro wo Rwanda o ensoro wo ho obi anka se nsoro ho but agimifo nsoro no sebe ni nyina agu ana abeka enyansafo no ombetima aboa no omne wo enye Ghana de na kinke enye no ne ho kan mo ne edi wa emwaw ewo Ghana ho wadamfo ne nam wiem no Paul Gami nam wiem en wo ye technologies ana wote Ghana de nsa agu so ne yetu ahonhom Mahama tie nkomo na yedi no we mum wow frɛ Pork Gami ne frɛ Elon Musk ne ka kyene sɛ ohia innovations o ma ba ya meminim ne ho ye frɛ wo mo ma ba ya mo tie de wadamfo eti Rwanda oye na wankasa de tie de miken fanse wonua anasa o bucket wa na wo fa ase ne ekase wo de fanse me yegimegimi na mekase ne tie de nkofo ne ka no na wa afato nsane ne busa sɛ onkofo yi a wo so mo ye spirit fu wo Ghana ho ya de omunima aye we ne bewini na we ne eba na we ne eku na we ne eku emfa so be na wo sa nkofo yi so apart from so obehye nkomo a sebe ye nkwase ankom hye asa oni hwi ka bi ontimi nya abobo ya akora ontimi nkase makwa ba hunu sɛ gold ye de hye yesen keke no ye betimi de ayewe spirit ne se ye mfa be obie no ye spiritual man wo Ghana ho wo nyansa obetimi de aye de make kan asa eye bon ho ban we be kun na we be yese na we kotam we na we be Sa spiritual man be na ti Ghana wonim die obetimi dia create bibi asa. Enti Paul no nkyerɛw. Na pork gami onam wiem sisi ya ye kase. Me madwen kyerɛ ni. Wudi matem a me mfa ho. Ba dia me kan ye no kore. Se be pork gami Rwanda o. Ayetimi kum nipa akon Rwanda o. Wo me be so omnam. Omnam wiem na mo gun wuram na mo bɔ mpae. Tie nkomo na ye dini. Papa John, fa we mu to garbage. Eye fa yi asofo ne prophet no. Fa mu gu bola bi kura mu. Ne concentrate. Israel nya asofo no mo chichiri wo. Israel for the technology na chichiri man no. Israel for create. Ye to bombo ba Israel. Wo chi no de akoma ni wura. No frɛ wo mo. Ne fa we mu gu garbage bi. Tie nkomo na me dini. Minim so obubefu mo me spiritual taba bufu me nso me mfa wo ho ni wa o spiritual taba obuwafu me ka no kwe na akero minim se wa ohwe me ayesofo obubefu se o prophet na mayo obi o me mfa wo ho mayo obi wa hwi tie nkomo na me dini ti Papa John wona message ma o mo kan dey forget o na frɛ Paul na won kyerɛ kwan abefa so na Paul gami Rwanda for etimayi we ya Ghana e betimayi o.
Today, for the first time in Africa, a self-flying air taxi will take the skies.
So, ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts, keep your minds open, and let's take off on this journey together. Murakaza neza ichigari.
And what I wanted to say is that we're here for the long run. We are here because we see the future of the continent, and that's what we're supporting.
Business aviation is not a luxury, it is an economic driver.
Rwanda has launched Africa's first flying car, shocking the US. Have you ever dreamt of hopping on a car that doesn't need roads? A vehicle that lifts straight up, carries you above the traffic, and lands right where you need to be? For decades, science fiction promised it. Now, in the heart of Africa, that vision just might be taking flight. During the Aviation Africa 2025 summit, Rwanda stunned the world when it hosted Africa's first public demonstration of a self-flying air taxi. No pilot, no runway, just a compact electric aircraft rising into the sky on its own. It was sleek, silent, and straight out of the future. But here's the real question. Is this the beginning of a transport revolution or just a flashy tech showcase? Can a small nation leapfrog decades of road building and become a leader in the skies? In this video, we're going to unpack what really happened at the historic demo, how the technology works, why Rwanda was chosen, and whether flying cars are truly Africa's next big leap or just an expensive dream. On the 4th of September 2025, all eyes were on Kigali as the city hosted the 9th Aviation Africa Summit and Exhibition. This wasn't just another conference about airports and airplanes. It was where Rwanda would introduce something bold, Africa's first public self-flying passenger air taxi demo. Inside the packed venue, government officials, aviation leaders, tech experts, and curious guests filled the hall with a mix of excitement and skepticism. The event had already begun on a high note, with President Paul Kagame's opening remarks. He spoke about Africa's aviation challenges, the high cost of air travel, weak intra-African links, and the urgent need of modern solutions. Rwanda, he insisted, was ready to lead by example. Then came the moment everyone was waiting for. On the runway outside, under the bright Kigali sun, a futuristic white craft rolled out. This was the EHang EH216S, an electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, sleek, round, and compact. It looked like something straight out of the sci-fi film. But this wasn't fiction. The air taxi's rotors began to spin. Slowly, it lifted from the ground, hovering steadily as the crowd gasped and phones shot up to capture the moment. In less than a minute, the EH216S climbed to nearly 100 meters above the city. It floated gracefully in the sky, buzzing gently before circling and then returning to land. The flight was short, but it was enough to prove a point. Rwanda wasn't just talking about the future, it was showing it. Officials from EHang, the Chinese company behind the aircraft, stood proudly alongside Rwandan leaders. To them, this was more than a demo, it was a message. Rwanda wanted to position itself as a hub for next-generation mobility and what they called the low-altitude economy. This concept means using airspace below traditional aviation levels for drones, air taxis, and cargo delivery, essentially building a new transport layer above congested roads. The crowd's reaction said it all. Many clapped and cheered, others simply stared in awe. To see a flying car rise in front of them was surreal. Rwanda described it as the start of a new chapter, one where Africa's cities could leapfrog the traffic struggles that plagued so many capitals, moving straight into the skies. The symbolism wasn't lost on anyone. Rwanda, a small landlocked country that has rebuilt itself steadily over the last 3 decades, was now grabbing headlines worldwide for bringing futuristic aviation to Africa first. Delegates from across the continent whispered about what this could mean for their own countries. Was this just Rwanda being ambitious, or the beginning of something far bigger? Alan P. Ford, chairman of the Africa Aviation Summit, gave a very clear picture of the problem facing the aviation industry in Africa. He did not shy away from the truth, and at the same time, he shared his belief that these problems could be solved if people worked together. One of the first things he pointed out was the issue of poor connectivity within the continent. For a continent as big and diverse as Africa, moving from one country to another by air should be simple and easy, but in reality, it is often very difficult. Travelers have to take long and expensive routes, sometimes flying to Europe or the Middle East first before returning to another African country. This not only wastes time but also makes flying unaffordable for many Africans. P. Ford explained that this poor connectivity also affects businesses. When goods cannot move quickly and easily across the continent, trade slows down. Companies cannot reach new markets efficiently, and smaller businesses are especially hurt because they don't have the resources to pay for costly shipping or complicated routes. This slows down economic integration across Africa, which is something leaders on the continent have been trying to improve for years. Tourism is another sector that suffers. Many African airlines still struggle with outdated systems, shortage of skilled workers, limited infrastructure, and slow adaptation of international standards. This can affect everything from safety to customer service. For example, some airports may not have modern equipment, which makes it harder to manage flights on time. Delays, cancellations, and high costs are common problems that push travelers away from African airlines and airports. For aviation to thrive, these standards must be raised to match global expectations. Despite all these challenges, P. Ford's outlook was not negative. He stressed that solutions are possible if everyone works together. He highlighted the theme of the summit, collaborating to unlock Africa's growth. How can Africa deliver a sustainable aviation industry? This message was meant to remind both government and private businesses that aviation cannot grow in isolation. Partnerships are needed. Governments must provide policies that support growth. Airports must invest in better infrastructure, and private companies must be ready to innovate and bring new technology into the sector. P. Ford also encouraged African countries to look at the bigger picture. Aviation is not just about flying planes. It's about connecting people, goods, and cultures. A strong aviation sector can strengthen economies, create jobs, and build stronger identity. For Africa in the global market, by uniting around common goals, leaders and stakeholders can create a system where flying in Africa is easier, safer, and more affordable. His speech left listeners with a clear sense that the future of Africa aviation lies not just in fixing problems, but in working together to build a brighter, more connected tomorrow. So, what is it about EH216S? While it might sound futuristic, this aircraft is already real, tested, and flying in several countries. Understanding what it is and how it works helps us see why many people are excited about its potential in Africa. In simple terms, the EH216S is a small, battery-powered flying vehicle built by the Chinese company EHang. It is part of a new category of aircraft called eVTOLs. This means electric vertical takeoff and landing. Unlike regular planes that need long runways, eVTOLs can lift off straight up like a helicopter. The EH216S is designed to carry 2 passengers at a time, which makes it more like a personal air taxi than a traditional airplane. Now, let's talk numbers, because that's where the design really shines. The EH216S cruises at about 100 kilometers per hour and can go a little faster if needed, reaching a maximum speed of 130 kilometers per hour. Its flight range is 35 kilometers and flight time is around 21 minutes before the batteries need recharging. It's not meant for cross-country trips or long journeys. Instead, it's built for short hops across busy cities, the kind of routes where sitting in traffic for hours could be replaced by a quick 15-minute flight. The S in EH216S simply stands for Series or Standard Production Model. That means it's not just a prototype anymore. It's a product ready for wider use, with governments and companies already showing interest in buying it. In fact, EHang has received over 1,200 pre-orders worldwide, and in 2023, it became the first company in the world to receive an official airworthiness certificate for a fully autonomous passenger, eVTOL. That's a huge step because it means regulators now recognize it is safe enough for public use. The aircraft itself is pretty fascinating. It has 16 propellers and 16 electric motors, all powered by rechargeable batteries. This design gives it balance and safety. Even if one motor fails, the others can keep the aircraft stable. It can carry up to 220 kilograms or 485 pounds, which covers 2 passengers and their light luggage. The cockpit has a canopy-style cover with wide windows, giving passengers a clear view of the skies and the city below. It even has gull-wing doors that open upwards, adding a bit of style to the practicality. To keep it light and strong, the body is built with carbon fiber composites, and instead of wheels, it uses simple skid landing gear like a helicopter. What really makes the EH216S stand out is its autonomous flying systems. Unlike traditional aircraft that need a trained pilot, this one flies itself. The onboard computer uses a mix of sensors, radars, GPS, cameras, and a barometer to understand its surroundings. The system can make decisions in real time, choosing routes, avoiding obstacles, and landing safely. Behind the scenes, the aircraft is also connected to the EHang Command Center, which monitors flights and provides extra support when needed. For passengers, that means you just get in, select your destination, and the machine does the rest. It's basically the flying version of hailing a ride on Uber. EHang has already tested the EH216S in a variety of conditions. By 2020, it had logged over 2,000 passenger flights, including trips in bad weather like fog and strong winds. Tests have been conducted not only in China, but also in Dubai, Japan, Austria, Brazil, and now Rwanda. High-profile people like the Dutch Prince Pieter Christian and government officials in Dubai have already flown it, showing the company's confidence in its safety. What's more, EHang is not stopping at passenger flights. The same aircraft design has been adapted into other versions. There's the EH216L, a logistic model for carrying cargo, and the EH216F, designed for firefighting in high-rise buildings. The firefighting version can carry 150 liters of foam and fire bombs, hover in front of a burning skyscraper, and launch its fire-extinguishing payload with precision. This shows that the platform can be used for more than just transport. It could also play a big role in smart city management. The company also envisions e-ports, futuristic hubs on rooftops, near water or on the ground where these aircraft can land, recharge, and take off again. Imagine a network of sky stations across a city, making it possible for someone to book a flight, get picked up, and be dropped off just a few kilometers away, all without touching a congested road. Now, this brings us to our last big question. Why Rwanda? If there's one thing Rwanda has shown the world in the past decade, it's that the country is not afraid to try bold ideas. Long before the air taxi demo in Kigali, Rwanda had already made headlines for using drones to solve very real problem. delivering blood to patients in need. 6 years ago, this was a serious challenge. Rwanda is a small country with about 12 million people, and most of them live in rural areas. Emergencies happen everywhere. Car accidents, women suffering heavy bleeding during childbirth, or children needing urgent transfusions. In those critical moments, blood had to move quickly from storage centers to faraway hospitals. But getting blood from point A to point B wasn't simple. Unlike many countries where people mostly lived in cities, 83% of Rwandans lived in rural areas. The roads can be hilly, bumpy, and slow. Blood has a short shelf life, especially certain components like platelets, which spoil in just few days. A long drive on winding roads wasn't always the safest way to get such fragile cargo to patients. That's when the government decided to try something unusual. In 2016, Rwanda partnered with Zipline, a California-based drone company, to deliver blood by air. Here's how it works. A drone takes off from a distribution hub with blood packed inside a small insulated box. When it reaches the hospital, the box parachutes gently down and the drone turns around to head back. Quick, clean, and surprisingly reliable. Today, Rwanda has 2 of these hubs, and each can make up to 500 deliveries a day. That's a big jump from the old system of cars and motorbikes. Researchers studying the results found that drones didn't just save time, they also saved blood from going to waste. Before drones, hospitals often ordered extra stock, just in case. But unused blood would often expire. After Zipline came in, wasted blood dropped by more than 60% within the first year. Mary Paul Nisingiswe, a Rwandan researcher, studied the numbers and was shocked by how immediate the change was. Even in the first few months, drones were cutting down delivery times by minutes to hours compared to driving. Over time, the benefits only grew stronger. But Rwanda's tech story doesn't stop with blood deliveries. The country has built a reputation for leaning into health innovation. Back in 2009, it tested a program called Rapid SMS, a phone-based system that helped track pregnancies and reduce child and maternal deaths. By 2013, Rapid SMS had connected 15,000 villages to hospitals and doctors, showing how much tech could stretch across Rwanda's rural communities. On top of that, Rwanda has one of the most complete electronic health data systems in Africa. This means the Ministry of Health can track things like malaria cases, HIV treatment, and even the number of women giving birth at health centers. Having that kind of detailed data made it much easier to measure how drones were helping, because everything was already being recorded. All of this explains why Rwanda was the right place to host Africa's first self-flying air taxi demo. The country has already proven that it's open to bold experiments and can make new technology work in real life. Drones that started out delivering blood are now part of daily life, and for Rwanda, stepping into the world of autonomous passenger flights feels less like a leap and more like the next logical step forward.
Okay, let's go up.
To use the laser home kit. First, apply the gel directly to the tooth surface as demonstrated on the video. Second, Connect the light to your phone using the USB provided. Leave the light shining on your teeth for 16 minutes. 4th, rinse your mouth and the mouthpiece with water, cold water. And lastly, smile. Using the toothpaste separately. Brush twice daily with the toothpaste. Bear in mind, this product is not suitable for pregnant women, breastfeeding mothers, and children under 18 years old. Enjoy!
I am cheerful. So we'll pay a sifita structure of what ye, and the enough for Wokodom unique laser whiten. Any tea stains, coffee stains, smoking stains, beer, unique laser whitening product. Ebe yini nyina free summer kama. The oyan is so befraying. I was 079-9979-2330. Unique laser whitening or say Muni Seso.
Abone fonti. I was so no bambo here. Na me papa mu de. Pro Technologies and me come from mawo. Ane Pro Technologies. We are specialized in both sales and installation of CCTV cameras. Yeton esa install CCTV cameras in the South Ghana and NASA brochure now fear Ghana. Now beso CCTV camera installation. We need Pro Technologies and in South. We CCTV camera installation, electric fence, automated gate, access control, video doorbell, and intercom, and satellite TV, home theater, so pebiato, and awato, and opesebe install them out. Pro Technologies and what's our fry na shene so. Say video nyina from America bochime. It is the papa na pedia. Men nyene ho na ne bo so da form. Ne general construction. So pese si fie di ma say ya bansoro. Dan tia so wa sha ase na pese ewie di ba. Ana afa na pese si di ma wo no. Woni en eni sa wo so. Ne de wo ni se. Ye no nyina ne wa bochime mu ha. Ene branch e wa Ghana. Na eni mo bra wo bre. Nti so sika fa ensem a. Sro bia nim. Wo dad. Da e dan bi pese osi. Pray bia. And when she saw here solar power, and a bamba wants and send the idea. Only Pro Technologies, and Miss our so. Yeah, smart home. I'm back from video your person show fee. And now intercom, if do juma. Any essential interior decoration. Yes, Sufi and a mount. And now our Sufi. Now Pessi CC hold the mawo. Say a your office. You be travel neat. Me a car tracker. And a GPS. I'll bet media track your car. Be a car and then be a bet my hair a phone so. And we're just so phone for the now who can first install it. And now the settings. Yeah, be a your Ghana office ewo Ashie Adenta Dodoa Road yene CBG ene di animhwe. For information or WhatsApp +1 401 7570 300 and +1 401 6992 254. Pro Technologies. Customer satisfaction is our topmost priority.